Good morning. I'm Herb Heathcote. I'd like to welcome you this morning. Glad to see everyone here. I have a few announcements. Today, following the service, we have a congregational meeting, and so after the service, we'll have a short break, and then we'll start the business part of our year. The annual report is due, so for your committee, you need to get it in to Carolyn soon because she'll be compiling everything to put it together for our annual report. And on June 12th, the Spiritual Writing Group will be meeting at 5 p.m. at the Cedars Center. Thank you.
Might be a little close there. Good morning. Before I give our opening words, I would like you to rise as you feel so called and willing and able to turn to someone next to you and to welcome each other into this space this morning. Well,
Good morning. It's nice to see you. When I hear your music, I want to get my pedal out. I haven't touched it for so long.
this year, the flowers have been teaching me patience. In the spring, I got excited when I saw the hellebore bloom. In those cold, early mornings, those heads looking up. Soon came the daffodils and the tulips. But everything else has paused. I mean, the rhododendrons are in bloom, but the daisies, still just leaves. The poppies, a few have begun to bloom. This year, the flowers are teaching me patience, teaching me to wait, to pause. In moments like this, to breathe. This year, the flowers are teaching me patience. May we be patient with each other and with the flowers as we come into this space today. Come, let us worship together.
Thank you, Emily. I love that strong finish on that. And the title of that is Carolyn's Cottage, which ties in beautifully to what I'm going to share this morning. Good morning. My name is Johanna Munson, and it's my honor to be your worship associate this morning. I call my reflection this morning The Gardener, and I'm going to share a poem called Believe This by Richard Levine. All morning, doing the hard root-wrestling work of turning a yard from the wild to a gardener's will, I heard a bird singing from a hidden, though not distant perch, a song of swift, syncopated syllables sounding like, "Can you believe this? Believe this? Believe? Can you believe this? Believe this? Believe?" And all morning, I did believe. All morning, between break-even bouts with the unwanted, I wanted to see that bird and looked up so that I might later recognize it in a guide and know and call its name, but even more, I wanted to join its church. For all morning and many a time in my life, I have wondered who, beyond this plot I work, has called the order of being, that givers of food are deemed lesser than are the receivers. All morning, muscling my will against that of the wild to claim a place in the bounty of earth, seed, root, sun, and rain, I have offered my labor as a kind of grace and gave thanks even for the aching in my body, which reached beyond this work and this gift of struggle. Have you ever done the hard root-wrestling work of creating a garden out of the wild of a field? If so, do you identify with that feeling of offering your labor as a kind of grace so that you can reap the bounty of earth, seed, root, sun, and rain? As I look out on this glorious display of blooms before us, I honor those who put in the labor to bring this beauty to where we gather today. I have created many gardens in my adult life, and I come from generations of women who joined the church of those willing to endure the muscle aches in pursuit of beauty and sustenance. As I prepare to move yet again and create Johanna's Cottage, I'm leaving behind the gardens of my current home, and I realize that I have a relationship with those hard-won plots of land, and one that is worth honoring. When I first moved to my current home and saw the open field with plenty of sunshine and good drainage, something stirred in my heart. A vision of beauty and abundance appeared before me, and I knew that I would transform that land. My daughter and her boyfriend began the process of double digging a small plot. If you've ever done that, you know that that is no small feat. Over the years, I expanded it, adding layers of fencing to deter the deer and rabbits, bringing in blueberry bushes and strawberry crowns, in addition to growing vegetables. It was a place of refuge during the pandemic, and I looked forward to my weekly routine of finishing online services on Sundays, then heading over to the stables to pick up a truckload of sawdust from the stalls. The garden flourished, and my heart was full. And then another dream came true, the opportunity to purchase a home and move back into Winslow. I've spent the last 2 weeks madly painting, along with some dear friends. Thank you so much. And arranging for various experts to come and work their magic so the home is safe and comfortable. There are gardens there too, but I do not yet have a relationship with them. That will come with time and more sore muscles. The only remnant of the gardens I built that I'm bringing with me are the 3 blueberry bushes that I plan to transplant. My landlord mowed over the rest. Ouch. I was able to share some plants, and I know that the iris will come back to haunt him, as they love a good haircut. I have left other gardens, but this is the first one that has been erased that I know of. As the bird in the poem sang, "Can you believe this, believe this, believe?" Our beloved community of Cedars is like a garden. It takes belief that it is worth putting our muscle into creating and maintaining the structure. Our labor is required to keep us going so that we can reap the harvest of our efforts. Today, we celebrate our new gardeners who have already brought their individual muscles to our collective effort. I dedicate the lighting of our chalice today to the gift of struggle and its many rewards. Please join me in reciting the affirmation as printed in the order of service. As we come together to worship, we remind ourselves to treat each other, people kindly, because we are one family, to take good care of the earth, because it is our home, and to live lives full of love and goodness, because that is how we will all become the best that we can be.
So we're going to sing Gather the Spirit, number 347. If you'd like to join me and stand. I'm still a little deaf, so I don't know how this is going to go, but do our best.
Some of you were having too much fun in that song, and I'm not going to call anyone out, but I saw you laughing. I have a story for all of you today, and it's a story by Caitlin Cotter Kahlberg, and it's titled Homer's Wings. I have a wing theme I've been going with in stories the last few weeks. It was Icarus last week. I don't know that it happened this way, but I do know that it's true, or at least true enough, that long ago and far away, or more likely recently, not quite so far away, high up in a mountain somewhere, on a blackberry plum tree, an egg was laid on a leaf. And in the light of the full moon, out of that egg hatched a little brownish caterpillar with white markings that would look to any bird who might be flying by overhead as if perhaps this caterpillar was simply bird poop. The caterpillar was named Homer. Homer looked around in surprise and wonder to find himself alive in the world. He was so surprised, and then he heard a voice. "Better eat your egg casing, little friend." He looked around. "Yeah, you heard me. You better eat your egg casing, little friend." And Homer did just that in confusion and turned and looked at his new friend. "Welcome to the world," said the other caterpillar, who introduced himself as Alex. "It's delicious here. Try some of this leaf." Together, the two caterpillars munched on the leaves that spring, through the rain, through the sun, sunrise and sunset, day after day. They laughed together, and they developed these little antics of playing with the baby birds. They would hide and try to lure them after them. They always got away, luckily. Alex taught Homer all he needed to know about life on a leaf. How to stay safe, how to munch, how to enjoy feeling the wind stir in the trees and the sun slowly warming the mountains each morning. Together, they gazed each night up at the beautiful stars and moon. But one day, the black, spiky caterpillar that Alex had become started something totally new and different. "What are you doing?" asked Homer, as Alex carefully put down silk on the underside of a twig in the newest collection of leaves and began to hang upside down like a bat. "Making a chrysalis," said Alex. "A what?" "You see, and over the next couple of days, you'll see, and over the next couple of days, you'll learn to do it yourself." What could this possibly mean? Homer wondered. For a week, Homer munched quietly by himself, watching the strange brown hanging thing that used to be his friend, wondering and worrying as the strange lumpy brown thing shifted in color and size and shape and pattern. Then one day, out of the strange, lumpy, brown chrysalis pushed an even stranger new creature. Homer watched this new creature as it pumped blood into its black and white and bright orange wings and unfurled a strange new being. "What?" cried Homer. "Who?" he said. The new creature turned and looked at him. "Oh, hi there, little friend. It's still me, Alex, the one you laughed at and hid with you in those leaves as we played with the birds, the friend that watched the stars and the moon. But now, you see, I have changed, and now I am a butterfly. An admiral butterfly, to be specific," said Alex proudly. "But you've changed." "Oh, friend, you've changed," cried Homer. "You were as constant to me as the moon, and now you've changed." Alex smiled gently. "Oh, friend, we're supposed to change. Why, even the moon is different each night. Sometimes we see it all, and sometimes only a little sliver. Sometimes we can't see it even one bit. But I don't want to change," lamented Homer. "Change is part of who we are," replied Alex. "And now our friendship must change too. And with that, Alex took flight from the tree and set off, leaving his friend Homer to do what came next. So next time someone says to you that you've changed, remember we're supposed to. And that is our story. I invite you to join me in taking a breath together. Breathing in and out. As we join together in a collective moment of centering silence, followed by our centering reading. Life is complicated and uncertain and gorgeous with some things we can count on. It has seasons of struggle and seasons of delight, and sometimes the two blow and bloom simultaneously. Like now. Maybe always. And we are here together, all of us, from different corners of the world and different families, here, breathing together, questing together, holding each other through it all, laughing and singing in the face of it. If there is a journey to liberation, if there is a way to live resurrection, I think it is this. May what holds us in bondage to death or loss or hurt or sadness or literal heartbreaking limits be released. And what gives us life, hope, joy, rebirth, feel invited to claim us. And may we claim it, sinking our roots down into what grounds us, reaching toward the sun, flowering into the season of all whose traditions witness to life more abundant, claiming us. After a season of loss and winter struggles of heart and mind and spirit, and may we open our hearts to the abundance of creation that surrounds and sustains us. Amen.
On most Sundays, we invite attendees up to share a joy that they may be holding in their hearts or a sorrow, so that we may join you and buoy you up and help take care of each other. This part of the service is neither live streamed nor recorded. For those watching, please take a moment and reflect on your own life and know that we hold you with tender care. If you would like to come forward. pour a little more water to represent those joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts, and know that we hold you with tender care.
Our centering hymn today is number 1023 in the Teal Book, and we'll sing it as a round. And we'll sing it through once, all together. And then I'll start this group, and Audrey will start this group second. Second group comes in at circle 3, by the way, if you're reading this in the book. First group, we'll do it 1.5 times, okay? Do the whole thing, and then we'll do the first 2 lines and then stop. Second group, we'll do it 1 time. Yes, okay, and Audrey is coaching me. Little pause after we do it in unison, and then we'll gear up, okay? I love the enthusiasm. Okay. Are you ready? Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me with all our voices and all our visions? I reach out to you, such sweet heart to me. Building voices between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me?
At Cedars, we are all gardeners. That metaphor might not work for everybody, but living in the Pacific Northwest, you almost can't help. When you stick a plant in the ground, it's just going to grow. Well, Cedars sometimes works like that, and sometimes we need a little oomph in our step. So if you are a guest today, we'll collect the offering now. Please let the basket pass you by if this is your first time here. Would the ushers please pass the baskets? Thank you so much for your generous gifts.
These people are walking, I kept getting a whiff of roses, which is quite delightful. Life is complicated and uncertain. I think that's actually one of the reasons that I have come to really appreciate flowers in my life and their simple beauty among all of that complication and uncertainty. I mean, I know that flowers, their function is actually like a reproductive one, and that me enjoying them is just a whole nother feature to them, that their main purpose is for reproduction. And yet, sometimes I like to think that none of this matters and that flowers are really just here to make us pause. To make us pause and just notice for a moment how beautiful and fragile this whole thing that we call life really is. And that no matter how complicated and uncertain things may seem, life and beauty persist. There are flowers that I can sit and enjoy the shade with. I think of the begonias that grow near the ferns in my garden. There are flowers that love to sway and maybe even play in the wind. I know not everyone is a fan of dandelions, but how else could you describe what they do as a sort of playful playful dance? There are flowers that smell like death, like rotting feces, disgusting. And then there are those flowers that smell sugary sweet, like roses or lavender. There are flowers that will climb anything that they can, smothering it, taking whole buildings. And then there's those flowers that will spread along the surface of the ground like spilt water. It seems that there is a flower for every situation, every condition, and every environment. Kind of like people, I guess. Or at least that's what one of our Unitarian Universalist forebearers, Norbert Čapek, thought. Over a century ago, Norbert, in his congregation in Eastern Europe, created the ceremony we celebrate today, the flower ceremony. The flower ceremony, as it was originally conceived, wasn't about bringing the prettiest, most beautiful flowers from the store or some nursery. Čapek invited his congregants, the over 3,000 of them, I should note, invited his congregants to collect whatever flower it is that they could find on their way to church, whether it was something from a ditch or in your yard. Maybe it did come from a store because that's where you were that morning. Flowers that were diverse from many places were gathered together, like we do when we come together. People from many places and many families and origins gathered together in one vessel. Today, we celebrate our tradition of the flower ceremony. But our gathering is twofold, because today we also welcome into our midst one of the newest members of this congregation. When someone joins a congregation, it's not just about another person being here. It's about embracing diversity, embracing new possibilities. It's about embracing transformation. Should note that membership in a Unitarian Universalist congregation has not always been viewed this way. Over the centuries, the meaning of membership in both Unitarian and Universalist contexts has evolved. Back in 1649, and this is our history lesson for the week, our congregational forebearers required that in order to join one of our congregations, there were a few things required. The first being the repentance from sin, and the second being a faith in Jesus Christ. These were the two conditions that our spiritual forebearers all those years ago required for people to profess in order to be counted among the members of a congregation. How many of you think you could sign off on those conditions? I'm not raising my hand, but clearly a lot has changed in those 374 years since the Cambridge Platform, the document that first set out these membership requirements, was published. At Cedars, we don't require either of these things. At Cedars, there is no statement of belief or specific scripture that you must affirm. Guided by our history and tradition, we embrace an open faith. We believe that each person is called to a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Not a specific creed or profession of faith, but an invitation for your own continued exploration. Part of this means that we will not always agree on everything, and that's okay. Since 1568, when Francis David said, "We need not think alike to love alike, for God is one," we have not thought alike. Even I imagine in those times when we had to profess those two statements of belief, there were many understandings of what that meant. Over the centuries, the meaning of what it means to belong to one of our congregations has changed. But that doesn't mean that there isn't any meaning to it. First, let's just talk about the technical things. We are an institution, and as an institution, we actually have bylaws that govern what it means to be a member. This is the polity lesson for the week. So, according to our bylaws, there are a few conditions that need to be met for someone to become a member of this congregation. Just curious, does anyone know what they are? Oh, I won't put you on the spot. I know a few of you do because we have talked about this in meetings. Just to cut to the chase, though, here are those three conditions. The first condition is that you must be able to willingly, of your own mind and conscience, enter into this community. And for us, we have said that that means you have to be at least 16 years old to join Cedars. I think most of us have that covered, right? The second, and perhaps the most important, is that in order to join Cedars, you must sign the membership book or submit the commitment to join form and then later sign the membership book. The final condition to join this congregation is to agree to support this congregation with your time, your talents, and your treasure. To give freely of your gifts to support the collective work we do. It's believed that in meeting these three requirements of choosing of your own free will to come and be with all of us on this journey, that you are expressing sympathy with the purpose and meaning of this congregation, a mission that we have affirmed that calls us to worship with open hearts, nurture a learning spirit, to work to serve justice with compassion, and to strive always to love each other without judgment. Being a part of this community means supporting its mission and striving to fulfill these ideas both in our collective life here in a community, in our larger life in the world beyond this community, and in our individual lives with the way we interact with ourselves and those around us. So, with the history and polity lessons aside, I'd like to take a moment to invite, we have actually a few people who have joined the church, but only one person is here with us this morning. But I wanted to recognize one of our newest members of Cedars and ask if Jim Morris, if you would please come up so we can recognize you and welcome you into our community together. So Jim, yes? I have a few things I would like to ask you. And if you agree with these statements, I would invite you to say, I do. Do you enter into this community with hope and possibility in your heart, pledging to participate in and support the ministries of this congregation?
I do.
Excellent. Do you covenant to remain true to the spirit of love that flows through this church?
I do.
Excellent. And with that, we welcome you into our community, and I invite you all to give Jim a round of applause as I invite you to fulfill the membership requirement of signing the book.
Okay.
Is this you? I'm not. I'm too uncoordinated. Thank you. To commemorate this, it's our tradition to present everyone. We have a few books in there that we give folks, a cedar bough to represent you joining us, and a coffee mug as well with the Cedars logo. Thank you very much and welcome. May I give you a hug, Jim? May I give you a hug, Jim? All right. Excellent. We have a few other folks who have joined in. We will recognize them at a later date. But as I said, each of us comes into community bringing our gifts. We welcome each other and create this beautiful, diverse display together, this display of life and beauty. And when we come together, we also exchange something with each other. The things that we bring into this space transform each other. And as a spirit, a symbol of that transformation, that alchemy we do together, I'd like to invite us in a moment to come forward, and we'll start and work our way across the room this way, section by section. But to come forward and to take a flower from one of our vases, preferably a flower that is different than the one you brought, as a symbol of those gifts that you receive when you come into this space, when we gather together in our beauty. So I'll invite us to begin our flower service now. I invite you all to rise.
Whoa. Let's be in the right key. Oh, here we go. That'll do.
invite you to just take a moment. Notice the flower you're holding. Notice its intricacies, its beauty. Maybe it smells like one of those flowers we mentioned, the ones that smell sweet, or like death. Each of us brings our uniqueness into this space, and that uniqueness transforms us collectively and as individuals. May this flower, no matter how fleeting it is, be a reminder of that transformation. May it be so, to the glory of life. I would invite you now to rise as you are willing and able, as we join together to sing our closing hymn of today's service, hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
I think we do this 2 times through, is that right? Okay.
Please repeat after me as we extinguish the flame of our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. The warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I invite you to join me in a call and response song. Courage, courage, my friends, you do not go alone. You do not go alone. We will go with you to sing the journey home. To sing the journey home. Our service this day has ended, but our service to the world and one another begins anew. As we go forth from this time, may we go forth knowing we carry the gifts of so many people who have come together supporting and caring, nurturing and strengthening. May it be so.